Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tiffany. Now I hope you're all keeping well. So today I thought it would be interesting and certainly necessary to discuss why less is more, the hidden benefits of a frugal lifestyle. Simply because I find that frugality gets a bad reputation. A lot of people see it as a sort of an imposed suffering or necessary form of deprivation. But the word frugal comes from the word frug, which actually shares roots with the Latin word for value. So the key thing is, how do I get the best value from my time, from my resources? And I think especially with everything that's going on with coronavirus, the key thing is now is, I've been told to only go out shopping for the essentials. We have been told to self-isolate. And obviously, given that the economy is shrinking, the key thing is now that how do we learn to embrace a simple lifestyle and still be happy? Because surely, think about it right now, the question is, how can you also derive pleasure from a home-cooked meal as opposed to what you would have in a fancy restaurant? And also, now that we have nowhere to go, can you also now see that perhaps we have more clothes and shoes than we need? Because surely we all get to that stage in our lives where we think, I have absolutely nothing to wear, whilst just staring at a full wardrobe. So I think overall the key thing about frugality is to learn to be happy with less. And I think about a writer, the writer Vicky Robin, who wrote this amazing book, Your Money on Your Life. And she said, if you live for having it all, then what you have is never enough. And I think that's certainly something we all need to consider in terms of, what adopting a frugal lifestyle can be advantages. Now, three things I want to share, three benefits. The first benefit is that frugality teaches us to be grateful. And I think gratitude is the root for maximizing small things, because whilst you're busy complaining about what little you have or how someone else has so much more than you, I think you always end up feeling sorry for yourself and you're not actually able to really see what you have with clarity. Now I was reading the other day, I was reading 1 Kings chapter 17, where God sent Elijah to a town of Sidon in Zarephath, and he said, I have informed a widow to feed you. Now Elijah came across the widow, and then he said, oh, can you make me a loaf of bread? Well, I'm going to paraphrase. And she said, oh, okay. Well, I have some flour and I have a little bit of oil, and I was actually going to bake a bread for me and my son. We're going to eat it and then we're going to die, because, she thought they don't have enough food. But then he said, do not be afraid. Go home and bake me a piece of bread for myself and for you and for your son. And it's transpired that she was actually able to then feed all of them throughout the period of the famine. And that got me actually thinking, of course, we have a God that's amazing, a God that does miracles. But at the same time, I thought perhaps she had a scarcity mindset. Perhaps she thought little of the flour and the oil that she had, to the extent that she wasn't able to see that she could make a lot more out of it. And I think it's certainly a mindset we all need to consider, that no matter how little you have, if you're happy about it, if you approach it with gratitude, then it can seem a lot more. I recently I took a trip to Marrakesh in Morocco, and I was thinking a lot also about the people that I encountered. So whilst they obviously had a lot less than us in the West, of course you had a few people begging, but majority of the people actually had trades. So they had learned a way to create all these beautiful sculptures from stone, from wood. They made some food that they could sell. And I thought, that's actually an abundance mindset, the ability to think, okay, I have some natural resources. I can make something and sell it to tourists and make some money, as opposed to just simply begging for food or hoping that somebody will feel sorry for me. And that's the key thing about frugality, in the sense that when your life is simple, you appreciate the small things and they can become more. The second benefit of frugality is that it teaches us to be less attached to things that we can lose. Now, there's a research that once you earn above a certain amount of money, you won't actually increase in the level of happiness that you gain. But I think because we're so, we have this false belief that money or things will make us happy, we tend to increase our lifestyle to a level where we're not able to actually sustain it. So for example, some people get a small increase in salary and they quickly go and upgrade their house, or they buy a more expensive car. which now costs them a lot more money to run. And then eventually, let's say they're not able to sustain that in the long term, they have to lose those things, they then feel that their self-worth goes along with the loss. And I think that's a very dangerous place to get to, where you feel that you're nothing because you've lost something of a material possession. Because we have to be very careful to not getting our sense of worth or respect from things, because things can be lost. Things can go away from us, things can be taken away from us. But if you're able to step back and think, I'm actually enough as I am, these things are just extras, it's nice to have, but they don't define who I am, and I think you get a lot more sense of peace. The third hidden benefit of frugality is that it prepares us for tough times. Now, I was thinking about Genesis 41, right, where Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dream and said there will be 7 years of plenty and there will be 7 years of famine. But what we need to do, we need to gather up all the grain and store them, so that during the years of plenty, we have something in reserve for the years of famine. And I think it really ties in with what we're experiencing at the moment. In the last few years has been good economically, but obviously now there is a downturn, there will be a downturn, and things will be cut back, and suddenly a lot of people are losing their jobs, a lot of people are losing their kind of financial means, and unfortunately this will expose people's financial carelessness. But imagine if prior to this time you've been saving some money, you've been putting some money aside because you're just preparing yourself for what might come in terms of hardship. Then now obviously you're going to have a lot more peace than someone who hasn't put any money aside. So I think it's never too late. This lesson's never too late to learn. The lessons of delayed gratification, for example. Not, people say don't have your dinner at breakfast. So in a sense that whatever you're making right now, how small you have, you can still save something, because you just never know what might happen. So yeah, I think this kind of economic atmosphere certainly encourages us to really think about what we need to be doing, maybe to simplify our lifestyle, so that we're ready whatever life brings. And I think, that's simply what I wanted to share. And I think overall the key thing is to voluntarily learn how to live simply, so that when times get hard, we can step up to the plate. We can kind of adapt and not feel kind of resentment or anger, because simply you never know what can happen. But if you're prepared, then you will be fine. And that's all I wanted to share. And I hope you guys are, keep yourself well during this time. And always remember that life rewards those who live intentionally. Thank you.